I like the one being out front. Yes or no? I think it's more confusing to me personally. I'm going to just get rid of it real quick and move it after the cosine. When it's back there, it's easier to see that this graph did what? Shifted up one. Okay. Now, was there a reflection? The negative out front, that causes the cosine to reflect. Okay. What's the amplitude? 3/2. Our brains do a little bit of a nicer job of writing that as 1.5. 3/2 is full credit, but 1/5 is a little bit easier for us to see. The period is 2 pi over what? 2 pi over 1. There's technically a 1 out in front of that x. So 2 pi over 1. Great job. The period equation of 2 pi over b, yes. Yes. It'd be 4 pi if the period was a half. Or sorry, if the b value was a half. Because then you'd have to keep change flip. Good question. So frequency, we're not worrying about that for right now. And then you guys should probably know that it shifts up one. Okay. Now, do you guys like what's on the board right here? Would you prefer this or the beginning, end, middle, 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 where you graph with the x's? Okay, sure. Let's do the x's. So cosine starts up however high the amplitude is. So again, cosine, in my opinion, is a little bit harder because it's starting. Let's get this guy out of here. It's starting up, not starting at 0. So it's going to start up at 1.5. So I'm going to put a little x right up there. That's not at 2. That's at 1.5. And then it ends up at 1.5 as well. Okay? Because if you remember, the cosine, if I just drew like a little parent function off to the side, it's got this half hill and the other half of a hill to make the full hill, right? Hopefully we're seeing that. Once we phase shift it, it's going to get all weird. But for now, you can think about it like that. And then one full valley down there to make, what's that called when you got a full hill and a full valley? One period. No T on the end. Now, hopefully you meant period with a T on the end, not. Thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you, Troy. So, perfectly in the middle is 1.5. At pi, it's down. Okay, so again, it's because this period length is just 2 pi. Again, this was our beginning. You guys like it more down here. Beginning, end, middle. And then perfectly in the middle of that is pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 hitting the x-axis. If it's helpful for you to see the x's on this example off to the side, that's good question. So thank you, Tia. So what our steps are, right, is we got to first we got to tackle the period and the amplitude. Okay, which is what we've done with the x's. Now we're going to have to reflect this thing and do what to it? Shift it up one. What would you do first? We reflect first because if you look at the board real quick, according to order of operations, if you were working here, you deal with the inside first, then you would multiply by -3. Then you would add 2. So that's why we're going to reflect first, then shift it up. So second step would be to reflect. And then the last step would be to shift. I always mess it up if I don't reflect before I shift, in my opinion. You could do like the 1 and 2 step all together if you want. I guess if you're asking if you don't want to put these up there, if you wanted to have them start down there and start with that up there, that's what you could do that as well. So I'm going to reflect this x down and then go up 1. Do I need to reflect the blue stuff? Blue is stuck on the x-axis. It doesn't need to get reflected because its output is 0. So all it has to do is shift up 1. The red x, I'm going to reflect it up That's a good question. If I back up for just a second, this reflected down to negative 1.5, and then I shifted it up zero point 0.5 right there. Thank you. I got a little bit lazy with the 1/2 part. 1 and 1/2. So then can't reflect the blue, just move it up one full complete box. We can reflect the red, but then move it up one complete box. We can't reflect the blue, just move it up one full box. And then we can reflect that last red and move it up one full box because of the negative out front. Reflecting it over the x-axis. And then you just want to connect those green dots. Again, if you think that this method is dumb, I hear you. I'm not saying it's the best way ever. This is just one way to do it. Again, your midline, you don't have to draw this, but hopefully you're seeing it. We've got this full hill, and then we've got half a valley to make one full period, all 5 points together. Thanks, working hard.